Hi! Welcome to Super Spooky Sunday with me, Arista Jade. Hi! And today we're going to be doing Subnautica. Oh, K9! Thank you for the 7 months at Tier 3. I squish your face, I squish your face, I squish your face. Unfortunately, you can't see me because I'm behind the camera, but yay, welcome! I could try to swish. Ooh, you know what we could do? We could do super special. Oops, excuse my head here for a second. Ugh. Ready? Hopefully nobody suffers from potential seizures, but oh, you can't see him. Look at my Mickey. He flashes. Ooh, spooky Mickey. Yeah, he's not very, you can't really see him flashing. Oh, that makes me sad now. But I squish your face, I squish your face, I squish your face. K9, welcome back for another month of subscription fun. Shove that over there. Perfect. Yeah, you like the Mickey? I got him on a lanyard in Disney World many years ago at Halloween, and he is one of my favorite Halloween things. It was one of those things that was like stupid and ridiculous, but I was like, no, I love this thing and I'm buying it and it's mine forever. So, yes. All right. So, pumpkin carving. So I'm not sure how much I lost previously because I had a great intro and then I think my mic was off. I apologize. I'm still trying to get used to the back and forth. Hey, Safe, welcome, welcome. Super Sunday to you. So this week's one is a little bit more ambitious than the previous 2 weeks, but there is components that I'm going to ask you guys for your feedback on which ones we should technically do. So this week what we're going to be doing is Subnautica. We're going to be doing a Subnautica-inspired pumpkin on this really nice, really big. It's a great pumpkin. It's wide, but it's also tall. So the plan is I'm going to do creep vine over here, possibly some over here, but I haven't decided, but we're going to do creep vine, and then in here we're going to do some Subnautica fish. And I have some drawings, but I can't decide which ones to do. So what we're going to do is we will be doing a poll. If I can make this thing work. And unfortunately, I don't think that the poll goes for very long. I think the max amount of time I can do is I can do 10 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll put that in. We'll put that in just a few minutes because there's a couple things we can do beforehand that won't affect what we're doing. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my screens and stuff. But I will show you guys the pictures. So we have our classic peeper friend up here. We also have a boomerang fish. I'm pretty sure we're definitely going to do the peeper. And then it's the other two that I'm not sure of. We also have, oops, that's not the next one. There is also the bladderfish, a Gary fish, and then I have 2 different renditions of the crash fish. I kind of like this one better. This one, it was really hard to tell what it was, but this one, he's just like coming right at you. So these are the different Subnautica fishlings that we can do. And I think we'll do 3 of them. I think we're going to do the peeper, and then the other 2 we'll leave up to chat to decide which ones that we will carve out. But these are going to be our Subnautica fish. And then, like I said, along the side here, we're going to do some creep vine, and then we'll have like a fish, and a fish. And it'll be our Subnautica frolicking fish theme. So we're gonna sit here, think about which, and I'll put the poll up in a few minutes once we get a little bit further in our construction. But we'll have some of the fish sitting there so you can kind of see them a little bit. We had to leave room for Gray in his chair in case he decides to come visit again. But yeah, so there you go. So hopefully, again, everybody is having a super Sunday, super fun day. Fun day, Sunday, Sunday. As always, I haven't done anything to the pumpkin except clean the outside. And we're going to just start with that. Again, the biggest thing you want to do when you're carving pumpkins is decide what you're going to carve first and then get the pumpkin to work with what you're doing. You can get a pumpkin and then decide a design afterwards with what works with your pumpkin, but you're more limited. But if you pick a pumpkin based on your design, it's always going to be easier. So that's what we did here. We have the perfect pumpkin for this. I've looked around the sides. This side is pretty janky, so we're not doing that side. This side's a little too bulbous, but right here is just, it's the perfect side. It's going to be, so this is kind of going to be like our center. I have a wide side over here, and then a super tall, nice pumpkin. So this is going to be pretty perfect for what we want to do. It actually kind of bulges out a little bit more in here, so I can do the creep vine very far over if the fish take up a lot of room. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to mark where our front is, which we said was right about, I'm changing my mind now. It does come out bulbousy, but that's good. Good height here. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of our center point right here. So we're just gonna mark him a little bit. And because I can't get, I'm probably gonna stop it like around here. So what we're doing is we're gonna be losing probably about an inch, maybe 2 inches at the bottom. But we don't want to go farther than that. We also probably want to stop around here at the top. But we want to have our actual cut for our pumpkin topper probably about there. So looking at this, we know that our key is going to be back here. What I'll do is I'll probably put it right about here. It's so funny. So the Watcher pumpkin has already is pretty much gone. It got very moldy very fast, just because it's been so warm, and because we just did we didn't get a chance to do a good angle cut on that one. The top part actually fell through. So again, what you want to do is you want to make your circles, and then you want to make sure that you're making this one big enough to get your hand in. The way we've angled it, I might try to take out a little bit more on this side. Try to make this a little bit wider, so we have a little bit more clinging room. Might actually cut that part down. Might do that. Might actually make this one a little bit bigger as well. It doesn't matter in the back so much because we're not going to see that, but we want to make sure that there's a big enough space to be able to get our hand in, even though we're angling it. So this is probably a good cut outline for us. I think you guys can see it, and then we have our key down here to make sure that that fits in. So we're going to use this outer line opposed to the more inner line, but we want to make the front face part of our pumpkin, which is like right here, we want to make sure that this part doesn't come in too far. So we're going to make sure that that's short. So, all right, pumpkin tools. We're going to start with our little knife here. This one did pretty well. We're hoping that this isn't a very thick pumpkin like the last ones have been, but we will see. As always, I have trusty paper towels. I got all my stuff ready and waiting to go. But yeah, has anybody else carved a pumpkin yet? Has anybody started thinking about what they're gonna do, decided, designed, got a pumpkin yet? Anything yet? Or is everybody waiting? I know some people won't be getting pumpkins, but that's okay. don't have to have a pumpkin. But yeah, so let's go. So I'm going to start with a key just because the key tends to be a little bit easier to do. Always cut away from yourself, never cut towards yourself. It's just for safety. Even if you know what you're doing, always better to be safe than sorry. It's looking like a pretty good pumpkin. But yeah, so we had a couple different design ideas for the pumpkin this week. I was thinking of doing possibly a cuttlefish, but honestly, the cuttlefish, when I went to do it, it was just, cuttlefish have a lot of detail, but not a lot that translates to pumpkin carving. It was very like color patterned, and that doesn't transfer very well to pumpkins. When you're trying to do when you're trying to cut out shapes, you basically, when you look at something that you want to turn into a pumpkin, you have to break it down into just rudimentary shapes, circles, lines, squares, things like that. And once you do that, you can kind of really see what you're working with for the pumpkin. I'm going a little bit farther out than my line just because I want to make sure that I have enough room to get my hand in. It does seem like it's a fairly thick pumpkin, but I want to make sure I'm also coming in pretty close to my, because this is our center, we want to get our line back. But again, it really doesn't matter what it looks like on the top, it's what it looks like from the sides. So that is a big thing. So get this going. But we also need to decide what we're going to do for next week's pumpkin. Next week is the last pumpkin carving week before Halloween, because Halloween is on Saturday. So it will be November 1st on that Sunday. So no pumpkin, which is really sad. So we'll go back to doing some streams. We'll do our weekly Slime Rancher check-in, Animal Crossing, things like that. I believe is the current plan. So if you are missing those, don't worry, they will be back. It's just, come on. How could I miss ooh, this one came out real well. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I thought Wheel of Fortune might be kind of a cool one. All right, so this worked out very well. So if you want to see, the reason why I put this kind of cut out here is so that when we go to put the pumpkin back, it's very obvious which way it fits. And so it just makes it easier for you to, especially if you have like a real candle inside and you're changing that out or lighting it or putting it out. It makes it really easy to take care of that. So this looks like pretty good pumpkin. Pretty good, pretty solid. I was a big fan of this pumpkin, honestly. When I got it, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a nice one. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune is going to be, if we do a Wheel of Fortune one, it is going to be complicated and simplistic at the same time, which is kind of funny because you don't really have both of those things happening at once, but it definitely would. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to be saving some of these pumpkins, and if anybody has any pumpkin seed suggestions that you want to pass along to me, I would love to hear them. So far, we've done salt and garlic. I did a rosemary parmesan, and then I also did a chili and ginger. So if you have any other pumpkin suggestions besides that, I'd love to hear them. My husband did not want me to make him cinnamon sugar ones because he knows that, you know, I'm allergic to cinnamon and it might make me sick, but I thought I could do it in a safe way. I could just wear a mask and I'd be okay, but he's kind of leaning more away from that. But I was thinking maybe a brown sugar and something else. possibly, to get. I kind of want to do a sweet one. I've done a lot of savory ones, but I've never actually done. I usually just do salt and pepper, so or salt. So I'm mixing it up this time, trying for something a little bit different. One thing I say I like to do, I like to cut this stuff off of this. Just kind of cleans it up a little bit more. This stuff can get icky real fast. And because it's not connected to the rest of the pumpkin, it really does kind of go fast. And you just kind of just find a way to cut it off. It doesn't always want to work, but yeah. I throw that away. Oh, that is one thing I want to do. I want to make the hand, the glove hand for you guys, the zombie hand, because I've talked about it every stream, but I've never actually shown it to you. Allspice and brown sugar. Okay. That is a possibility. I was thinking nutmeg, maybe. Because nutmeg is a nice kind of cinnamon substitute. Now, we don't want to cut too much off of this because, again, this one's going to be resting. It's the lid, so it rests right here. So we don't want to take off too much. But as long as you're just taking off a little, it's fine. Just don't mess with the top part because then it will just fall in. So put that guy over there. Oh, you're a clove lover, but it tends to be hot. Oh, okay. That is an option as well. So I'm not going to be as finicky with this as I was last time. I did find a new way. I think I mentioned it. How to get the pumpkin seeds. What you can do is you take the pumpkin seeds and this little bit of extra flesh and you put it in, I don't know if it's cold water or hot water. I did room temperature water and then I added hot water because I needed to warm up the pumpkin seeds. But I put them in a bowl, actually left them in this bowl right here, filled it up, mushed it around, kind of mixed it, and eventually the seeds just stayed at the top and all the gunk fell off to the bottom. So it was very helpful in separating. Personally, I still prefer just taking my time and grabbing the pumpkin seeds that I want. But if you're trying to save yourself a little bit of time, this is really easy. So, but we'll see if I have enough gunk left over to fill my hand, to fill that glove, if I'm using most of it, if I'm just pulling most of it out for this. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I will have to write that down or remember it. The clove. Oh, there was also one for honey. Honey and what was the? I don't remember what the other thing was on. I looked up like this is like 12 recipes or 6 recipes for pumpkin seeds, and I was like, okay. And I was going through them, and a lot of them were kind of like the same, and I was like, whatever. It's not that great. And then I found, I don't like really spicy hot things, and so I modified one to get the, to do the chili and ginger. I thought ginger would be a nice mix with it, and it turned out pretty well, I think. All right. So that is the majority of the pumpkins from inside here. This one's, or the pumpkin seeds, excuse me. This one seems to be a pretty easy pumpkin clean. So now we just have to get the all the rest of this gunk out, and that's what we will put into the glove. So what I might do is I might actually just push these guys down, put this here, and then we'll fill this guy up with our gunk leftovers. Because you really want, for the zombie hands, you want a mixture of texture. Honey juniper sounds interesting. Oh, that could be interesting. You're right. make it a little ginny. I've mentioned this before, my liquor of choice, I'm a fan of gin. I like the very botanical gins. And so yeah, I'm a fan of juniper. I could do something like honey and lavender, but I don't know how that would be with pumpkins. I'm trying to think of other stuff that goes good with honey. I've only started liking honey maybe the past like year or two. It was never something I was really exposed to a lot when I was growing up. And I don't know. I think the whole fact that I didn't like bees kind of also, it's the same thing like with the whole like I don't like monkeys, I don't like bananas. Monkeys like bananas, that kind of thing. So yeah, I was never, people were always like, oh, you don't like bees? Well, then you can't like honey. And I was like, okay, fine, I don't like honey. And they're like, oh, well, bees make flowers grow. And I was like, yeah, so do butterflies. That was my solution to most of those problems. And then eventually it would shut people up. But yeah, no, bees and wasps are scary. So we're gonna clean this pumpkin guy out, get him going. But yeah, again, if you buy one of the pumpkin carving kits and it comes with one of those orange spoons, I highly recommend you get one of the ones that comes with the orange spoon. As silly as it sounds, it is so much better than using like a regular spoon or anything else. They work so well. They're angled so that they fit the inside of the pumpkin really well. They usually have a flattish end so that it helps actually do the scraping for you. And then it holds a lot of the gunk in it. But yeah, they're a godsend when it comes to pumpkin carving. I just can't find mine. But close substitute is going to be just a gloved hand, because you can really get in there. I don't know if you can hear, but I'm like scraping with my nails against the bottom, and it helps grab all that stuff. Oh, of course my phone is making noise. Go away. There you go. Excuse you? There it goes. I'm like, I click dismiss, the screen goes, and it's still doing the alarm. I'm like, that's not right. So, here we go. Yeah, I want to be careful about not really ripping off any of this outer part when I scrape, just because that's part of the top, the wall that holds it on. So we are we're halfway through, we're more than halfway through the month. So hopefully if you are planning on dressing up for Halloween, you have already figured out what you're going to be, what you're going to dress up as. If anybody knows, I'd love to hear what you're thinking of doing. I have 2 more weeks of costume fun. I have next week or this week, this coming Friday. Should be a lot of fun. I am waiting for one more piece to come in the mail, and then everything should be perfect for that costume. I've never gone to this. It's a costume that I've had before, but I've never gone this far with it. I've always been like, people get it enough that they don't need to see that. But I was like, you know what? For you guys, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to buy this extra thing. So hopefully you guys like it. It seemed like people enjoyed Dorothy from Wizard of Oz on Friday. This one is also, I think, fairly easy to recognize. Very interesting. A very similar color scheme that I didn't actually realize. If I had really thought about it, I probably wouldn't have worn them week to week, but oh well. So what I'm doing is, at the very bottom, you can see that there's some of these areas that are a little bit tighter a little bit tougher to get out. So this is where I'm taking my spoon and actually just like gouging it out. You'll notice that everything on my desk is shaking. It is a little bit more forceful than we were doing with just my hand, but I really want to get that gunk out. The more the gunk you get out, the less, how do I say this, less, moisture filled it's going to be. It's a pumpkin. It's wet. It's going to have moisture and it's going to mold. But the more of the excess liquidy, stringy bits you remove, the more life you get with the carved pumpkin, the hollowed out pumpkin. We're gonna have to turn it and get this side. Oops. Some pieces trying to rip off, but that's okay. The inside is, that part is fine. Just want to make sure that we need to make sure that we get the front part really scraped well, so that when we go in, as you saw with Chandeler's pumpkin, the little stringy bits were making it a little bit hard to see if we had done a proper job. So what I am going to do is, we know that this is the front, so I'm going to kind of scrape this part a little bit more. Just make sure it's all smooth and I got a lot of the gunk. So just doing that a couple times, we've produced a lot of extra stuff. We'll turn a little bit and keep going. So all I'm doing is I'm going like this on the inside. So I'm taking my spoon and I'm kind of curving it along the inside section just to get up as much of this gunk as I can. It doesn't have to be smooth per se, like you can have that little bit of like ribbing that's left over from the spoon, but we do want, see if I can show that. See how that's pretty smooth over there. That's what we're looking for, because that's the front of our pumpkin. We want to make sure that when we poke holes in it, it's going to actually show those. You're going to be able to make it all the way through. So let's get this stuff out. Got a little bit on the edge that I want to get rid of just because it's the front. Ah! It attacked me. You saw it. It was unprovoked. Take that part off there. So that is our pumpkin pretty well cleaned out. There's a couple spots on the inside that could be better, but not too bad. Get rid of some of this stuff. All right. And I think I'll save the glub for a little bit later. I want to make sure, because we have kind of an ambitious design. I should have put the, let me put up the, sorry, I'm trying to use both. There it goes. Okay. We're gonna do the poll, a new poll for which ones to do on the, excuse me, I'm gonna slide my chair over here. We're gonna decide which fish. So we're gonna do the peeper. We also have the bladderfish. We have the geary fish. We have the crash fish. And we have the boomerang. So we're just gonna leave that, and you know, we'll put this on. Yeah. So we now have a poll up. If you would like to see the poll, use the poll, participate in the poll. It is called Which Fish, and all you have to do is click down on the arrow and then just vote for which one you want to see on the pumpkin. I'm going to be doing we're going to do the peeper, and then we're going to do probably 2 others. So I'll pick the top 2 votes that go through, and that will be who we use. So, but in the meantime, I will make sure that this is just nice and clean. And these are our pictures over here. So again, we have, this is the bladderfish, this is the Garyfish, this is the boomerang, and this is the crash fish. I do have 2 different crash fish. I have the front facing and the side facing. I think if we go for crash fish, it's gonna be the one front facing. Just because. Good question. Yes, can I write which one they are? So, so this is number 1. Who's next? This is number 2. This is number 3. And this is number 4. You cannot see that at all. We'll try this again. All right, so again, we have the bladderfish, and we have the Garyfish, 1 and 2. 3 is the crash fish, and 4 is the boomerang. The peeper is number 1, and we're definitely doing him because the peeper is kind of a big deal when it comes to Subnautica. So we're gonna have the peeper, and then we'll have the other guys in there as well. We have a vote for crash fish, so that is very cool. Because honestly, I thought he turned out pretty cool. But there's I like all of them, honestly. I think they all look neat. Yeah. I think these 3 are like the first ones, some of the most iconic ones, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off some of the stuff. Now, again, we're going to do probably 3 fish, and then we're going to have 3 fish on there, and then we're going to add creep vine along the side. The creep vine I don't have drawn out just because I don't think it's going to be hard to draw. Again, famous last words. But the creep vine, if you don't know what it is, let me see if I can bring it up. Creep vine, Subnautica, images. Kind of hard to see, but that's the creep vine. It kind of just goes up, and so what I'll do is make it I'll do more like down here, that kind of part where it's just kind of spindly bits. But like do it more like the creep vine sample, like that you see there. So that's what we're going for. All right, so we got that, and I'm just going to do real quick. Oh no, my sanitizer got gunk all over it. That's not what was supposed to happen. All right, so we're just gonna kind of clean off the front facing bit while we wait for that poll to go. So it looks like we have 2 votes for crash fish. So, I encourage you to vote because we need to have more fish. There is no wrong answer. I'm okay with doing any of them. That's why I drew them and why I put them in the poll. If I didn't want them, I wouldn't have put them up there. I'm a firm believer in letting chat participate in decisions. However, they also have to be decisions that I'm okay with doing. One of the reasons why I got rid of some things like drink on the stream. Got rid of hydrate because it got a little crazy there for a while. So we're just not doing that. All right, so we're gonna put our lid back on. Put it back into the key. Perfect. There we go. This is our front bit right here. So yeah, so looking at our pumpkin, this is what we're working with. This is what we're dealing with. So again, the idea would do some creep vine over here and then fish, fish, fish. Have our fish kind of just swimming here, all cute and adorable. So it looks like Crash Fish won. So cool. Good to know. And so we are definitely doing the Crash Fish. So with our Crash Fish and our friend, so we could put Crash Fish down here. We could do our peeper. Peeper could be here. So we would need one more little guy. And looking at who we have, I'm thinking maybe we could do a bladder fish or a Gary fish. Maybe the Gary fish. Oh, the bladder fish. You know what? We'll wait. We'll decide on that one after, based on how much room we have left. Because these two guys are pretty big. Those guys are a little bit smaller. So we'll do that. All right, perfect. So I'm going to do a different technique than we've talked about before. So we've seen the first week we did the dot method. And we are going to kind of do that again. But we traced it onto... Oh, well, we could still do that, actually. I take that back. Sorry, I'm changing my mind. I'm a woman. I'm allowed to do that. So are men. Anybody can change their mind. It's one of the beauties about having free will and making your own decisions. Is I can change my mind. So we are going to take just a little bit of parchment paper. How big does it have to be? About that big. Okay. Cool. So we'll do around here. If I can get my parchment to rip correctly. So I want to do this one down here. Okay. Parchment is always not the most helpful, but it looked like it worked pretty well today. So we're just going to trace our design onto the parchment paper, and then it makes the parchment paper is a little bit easier to manipulate, and we can cut it, we can do kinds of things to it. So that's what we're going to do. Can I actually get him? Ooh, I can use very little bit of this. Awesome. So this is what we're going to do. We have our peeper here. And you guys cannot see this at all. So let me move the pumpkin. Oh no! My center bit has exploded. So I have my parchment here. And I'm just going to trace the design on here. I've gotten a little bit better over time, trying to make sure that these are thick enough lines that we can actually cut and not have them affect anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, again, change some of these lines as we go, just because I know how can be based on the tools that I'm using. We don't need to draw the kind of lines on the inside. I know they're there. We'll do those later. And then we'll get these guys going. Yeah, see, unfortunately, this one I think might be a little... The inner eye might be a little bit close. So we're just tracing this onto, again, a piece of parchment paper. It's a little bit easier to work with and manipulate than the kind of cardstock paper I drew them on. So it just makes it a little bit easier. But the interesting thing is going to be when we actually do the dots to do things, we're not gonna actually make these lines that thick. But what I'll do is I'll try to put the dot in the center of where we have it cut out. Is going to be kind of the idea. And then that way, oops, my pencil slipped. So we don't need, it doesn't need to be exact, but we will have kind of that outline. And then this goes here, and this goes here, and we got that. So there is our peeper ready and waiting for us. So we want to give a little bit of room just to make it, don't want to cut it out perfectly close. I want to give ourselves a little bit of room just to be able to handle if we decided to tape it. I'm going to try to not tape it, to be honest with you. I'm going to try to just hold it with one hand and stab it with the other. So we'll see. So this is that one. Now our crash fish. Crash fish, he is, like I said, a little bit bigger than the other guys. But he's a little bit more intimidating than the other guys too. He is naturally bigger, not by too much, but he is a bigger fish. So I'm okay with him being a little bit bigger. Cut. This one was unfortunately up there. Okay. So crash fish we got here. And again, he's got his stabby, pointy, explodey bits. The crash fish, if you don't know or don't remember from Subnautica, he's the one that lives in the little sulfur flowers. And when you go up to them, they pop out and they go kaboom, and then they explode next to you. So, yeah, that's who this is. This is Mr. Crashfish. And they're funny because they look so cute and adorable. And you're like, aw, he's not that bad. And then he explodes and ruins your day. Because he's a jerk. He's a jerk like that. He's got one big eye, and he's got his little nostril thingies. Which is funny, because I didn't really notice, because I normally don't look at him too closely, because I'm normally running away in panic. He also has a very cute little smile. You know who else has an interesting smile? The Reaper. The Reaper has an interesting smile. I did try to do a Reaper drawing. I did, and I'll show you what I came up with. I wasn't really impressed with any of them. I didn't think any of them looked good enough to actually have you guys vote on. I just didn't think they looked scary. They didn't look the way I wanted them to. And I couldn't actually think of a way to fix it either. So, yeah, I decided just not to worry about them and go with our cute little aquarium theme. So these are okay. I'm trying to look if some of this stuff is a little close. I think it might be. I'm also not happy with this one, so we're gonna erase this one and we're gonna redo this one. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna steal this side And I'm gonna do this one. Yeah. So there we go. And now I'm not happy with this side. But again, you're allowed to change your mind. That's why you do them the way we're doing them. Is so that in case you don't like it, you want to change it, you have that ability. You still have the option to change things. That's why we draw. That I'm a lot more happy with. So that is our crash fish. All right, and then I will have a piece of parchment left for whomever else we decide to go with. Oh dear. I should have known that, blowing onto the paper would cause everybody to move. Probably would have been a good thought, guess kind of thing. So, get this going. There's our crash fish. Okay. Perfect. So, piece of parchment ready for the next guy. Yeah, we'll stick it there. Okay, perfect. Okay, open that. Okay. So if we bring our pumpkin back, I might have to. This is the same saran wrap I've had for the past couple of weeks. This is also a really heavy pumpkin, so I think that's kind of what just destroyed this. But again, saran wrap on your table, super helpful. Yes, you can use, what's it called? Newspaper. But if you use newspaper, the newspaper gets all wet. The ink can get onto your pumpkin. It just doesn't look nice. And I don't like it. So that's why I always do saran wrap. If it's possible. So, all right. So I have all my different types of tools ready if I need them. But I think we're gonna just dive right in. Again, we're going to do the point method. So I have just a safety pin that I popped open, and we're gonna use this basically to poke in the designs of what we're doing. So again, we want to look at our pumpkin, figure out what is our face. This is kind of our face. I might actually do something like this because it's really not just this line. This is kind of the front of our pumpkin because I want to get a little bit of this side in too. So that's what we're dealing with. That's our pumpkin. So if we put our crash fish down here at the bottom, we could have him probably right here. I think would be good. I think that's a good spot for him. Pumpkin's flat. He should be good. And yeah, maybe I will put. I was gonna say maybe I will put tape down, and I don't know what happened to my tape. Ah, right here. Okay. So make sure he's somewhat centered. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna do one little piece of tape for him. Don't need too much. So he is here like this. Yeah, there's not gonna be too much moving around, changing things. Just because I'm gonna have to hold the pumpkin up, I am gonna tape him down a little bit more just to be on the safe side. Oops, nope. Problem with parchment, tape doesn't stick to it super well. So keep that in mind. So you don't want to pull it too much. But luckily, we have a small enough design that it's not So, some of the pumpkin designs, like if you get like the stencil kits, um, it gets a little awkward how things fit, and you have to fold the paper over. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You're not going to be able to use the stencil again, so folding the paper over is definitely not a problem. It's just a little bit harder to get your design. Luckily, with the we can do ours like this with the parchment. He's a nice flat thing. When you're using a flat pumpkin, that also makes it easier as well. So here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pumpkin and we're gonna just put in some guide puncture holes. And again, what I want to do is for this one, I'm kind of just gonna do, maybe I'll do the kind of the outline. I do a couple more holes than is necessary, just because I like to have a clear idea of what I'm doing. I know there's other people that don't that'll do, they'll do one here, 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 and here. I just need that reminder that I'm going up and down this. So I might do something like this just so I might not do the inside part of the like V's. I might just do the outside, and then that makes it a little bit more up to me how I decide to do it once I actually start carving. And if my big fat head gets in the way, please let me know. I cannot always see on screen when I am doing stuff. So if you need me to move, just say, hey, move your big fat head. And I will totally understand. There we go. So this is going to be an interesting cut. I'm hoping because the pumpkin is kind of thick that won't be a problem. We're only leaving this much space. But what we might end up doing is we might cut some of this other stuff out first. Just so that isn't potentially in danger of collapsing or breaking. Remember, you're going to get pencil stuff all over yourself. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're planning on going on a date after pumpkin carving, make sure you incorporate time to take a shower. Because you will have pumpkin gunk everywhere. Hey, maybe your date is into that, and then perfect. Maybe you could have a date of carving pumpkins, huh? There you go. That would be fun. Kind of see what the other person's into, what they kind of like. Because people tend to do pumpkins. Either they'll do like faces and pumpkins, or they'll do something that they like. It's very common to do, like a Pokemon pumpkin. If you like Pokemon, you can do that. People like that. And so this kind of gives you an idea of what that other person's about. I'm going to cut that line down a little bit thinner. Just so it's not as close to that part. So I'm talking about lowering the jawline down. So I have it here instead of going up just a little bit more, just so it's farther down from the rest of the head. Do this here. The outer part. I'm not going to do the inner part. So I have a little bit more freedom to change my mind or to make that a little bit better. Luckily, again, with the little pinpricks, it's not a huge, you don't see it too much if you decide to go off pattern. So this should be our crash fish. So tape off, and there we go. So we have our crash fish, which you guys probably can't see at all. So try to get them a little closer. So you see it's just the little tiny pinpricks. Not a big deal. So what we're going to do is we will cut into those. Don't throw away your drawing. You want to keep your outlines. You want to keep your drawing so that you could see what you're supposed to actually be doing, especially if it's something you're not familiar with. It's not something you've drawn before, kind of thing. So, all right. And so we're going to get our trusty tools out. I think for this one, we're probably just going to need my short cutter. We're definitely going to need the square one and the triangle, or the 90-degree angle. We might not need the circle, so we'll put those over there. And we also have our paring knife in case we need it. So here we go. So I think what we're gonna do, we'll try to tackle. I want to do the outline first. So what we're gonna do, again, if my head gets in the way, please let me know. So this comes to a point here. We had this one here. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll start this here. And I might actually just do like the outline just with the blade first. So I just want to make sure where we're ending. So we're ending here because that starts the mouth. So I'm gonna I am gonna use our circle. Oh no, I'm gonna use our square. I'm changing my mind. Changed my mind a lot. So we're gonna carve that. Carve this. And we're just gonna have that come in and meet that one right there. So we've got this one and this start. Remember, with pumpkin carving, you can always carve more off. You can never put it back. So always go for thinner, smaller cuts. You can always add definition later, but you can never take it back once you've made a cut. So keep that in mind. And that is our first side of our crash fish. So idea is we're going to want to repeat that on this side. So I'm looking at this, not super happy where those dots are. I feel like I would have wanted them a little bit farther over. So I don't know, maybe the paper moves slightly, or I'm just changing my mind now, which again, perfectly acceptable. But we will see. So we're going to again go through. This pumpkin feels very thick, so this might end up being like an illuminated one versus like full-on light. So it's going to be closer to the Horizon Zero Dawn Watcher versus the Chandelier. Chandelier, we were able to cut through fully on all the spots that we wanted to. This one, it seems like we're not going to be able to cut through all the way, but that's okay. But yeah, again, if anybody wants to talk about their pumpkins, I would love to hear what pumpkins you want to do, what pumpkins are in your plan for the holiday season. If you've ever carved a pumpkin, your favorite pumpkin you've ever seen carved, things like that. Anything is pumpkin related is totally cool. Your favorite pumpkin seed roasting recipe, also very good. So I'm gonna try to get out some of this gunk from here. This is gonna be a very, I can already tell this is gonna be a very messy pumpkin. Always fun. We'll do what we can do. Again, that's why we have something down to pick up our mess, is because we know we're gonna have a mess. Put this out. So we got that. So that's our outside bit. And I think, I think we are going to go for this center bit right now. So what I want to do is I'm going to make that, I'm going to change this slightly. Ever so slightly. I am not changing it by much. I just wanted to change an angle a little bit. Oops. Yeah, any little oops cuts that you make in the beginning of your jack-o'-lantern's life will not be obvious. As it starts to dry out, you will start seeing those little nicks, those little cuts that you might have gotten accidentally. So just keep that in mind. It's not a big deal, no one's gonna see it in the beginning, especially if you're just doing it for, like, you're gonna take photos on the first day or second day, and then you'll be fine. Once you go a little bit farther after that, you start seeing them. Like with the chandelier one, initially you couldn't see it, but I think we ended up taking the picture on like the third day, and you could see one or two kind of small issues with it. So again, however we attack the inside is not a big deal. It's how the edges look in the end, because that's what people will see. We'll see the edges. So if you need to do like a diagonal, you can do that to help cut things out. That works. How much have we did? We did. Okay. So like with this one, we're gonna kind of cut a couple little random spots because we're gonna try to pull these pieces out. But we do want to be careful because there is a pumpkin missing here. There's that. Okay. That. Perfect. And this is the little kind of spot right above the cuttlefish's, or right around surrounding the cuttlefish's eye. What we can also do is we can leave some of this gunk in there for stability until we've cut all the other things around it away, and then we can clean it out. So that's probably what we're gonna do. All of a sudden I was like, wait, is this connected? Yes, it is connected. See, sometimes I forget my own ideas. Oh. So this piece should. Again, famous last words. it should have come out. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that took a weird angle, but that's okay. It's okay. I cut a little bit farther in than I would have wanted. It's a little bit wider of a kind of thing. This one I might have to kind of adapt the other side to match it slightly. It just looks a little strange. And again, we're gonna leave a little bit of this gunk in here so that it makes it easier for us to get the parts below it done. Just need a quick clean. Oops. Gunk off of our cleaning pad. If you are going to use things like carving tools, I recommend always having a pad or something alongside just so you can wipe off the gunk. It just builds up after a while, and then it leaves pumpkin guts and stuff all over the front of your pumpkin, and it makes it kind of hard to do anything. Alright, so here we go. Alright. So we have the circle in the center, which I want to do. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to do our punctures for this. So I have a circular tool. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. And so this one is really good for doing circles. You have to stab it multiple times. You can't just stab it like 4 times and say, done, it's a circle. No, because it does start to kind of curve in. So you kind of gotta move it around a little bit, repeat sections, but it does get you a nice little work. It does get you a nice circle. So we have our circle, and we have some pieces of the styrofoam that it sits in. So that's good. Fun. All right, here he goes. There's his little eye. And so what we're gonna do, I think next we'll probably do these bits. So I'm using my little triangular guy to puncture. And then I'm going to have this guy go up. Have this guy go up. And then we will meet up at the top. Ta-da! So that actually worked very, very easily, very well. I'm trying to see if you can actually see. Maybe some of these lights are too bright. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So it actually did make a nice little triangle for us. So what we did was we did a puncture, 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle, and then just cut up. So that's what we're going to do for the other side as well. The only problem is that these ones are a little bit... I made this one really close to here. So we're going to have to try to move him closer. Do that. And do that. But it's funny because it doesn't actually look like it's going to change the spot really. It just looks like they were very different shapes when I drew them. So luckily I have a tool to fix the problem to make it easier to do things. It just does not want to come out in one hit. And that's okay. It doesn't have to come out in one. Sometimes it's easier for me. There we go. Okay. So there we go. We got that. I'll do it again down here. I have one right there. I have one right here. And then we go up, up, and then they eventually meet. Perfect. Our stabby, painful, exploding part of our crash fish is nearly complete. Bad crash fish. Bad. There we go. That part out. Little spiky bits. We'll do that on this side. So we had one a little bit down and here. And then a little bit down, probably about over here. Okay. So yeah, these are going slightly differently than my original drawing had planned. But again, remember, it doesn't matter. You're allowed to change how you do your designs. That was one of the things I always used to do with the stencil kits. A lot of times I'd mix pieces from one stencil from another. So if you get any of those stencil things and you're like, oh, I really wish that this haunted house had bats. Well, you can get bats. You can put bats into it. Don't be limited to what it does. Or you like one or two things from it, but you don't like all of it. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to do what the man tells you. I think instead of trying to do anything fancy with this little, cheeky thing, I'm just gonna cut it out like that. So that's, again, the beauty of this type of one. It cuts things out. Perfect little circly bits. So. Do that. So now we have two perfect little cheek nostrils. I don't know what those are supposed to be on him, to be completely honest with you. So, all right, we're gonna do the smile now. Here we go. I think I will take that part off. All right, so here's the smile. His creepy little smile that makes you think, oh, look at this cute little fish. And then he goes, and then explodes right in your face. Because he's terrible. Because he is a terrible fish. Okay, I want to see where this part ends. I had it actually going like this. Had it kind of tapering off. So we'll make sure we're doing that. I need to make my smile a little bit deeper. Okay. So this is really the only part we were worried about just because of this delicate section, but it's actually very sturdy because we left the little bits of pumpkin in it. If we had not left the pumpkin in it, it would be a little bit more delicate. Some of our cuts are a little rough, but again, we can always go back and fix those later. We just want to kind of get them in now while we have a chance. So it wants to come out, but it's stuck on something. So this is going to be, we're going to break this one in half. Maybe a couple pieces. Yeah, it's stuck on, I think, this side. We've made a couple little small changes over here, and every time we change it a little bit, it's a new cut, and so it has to get back into line. All right, so there we go. There's his cute little face. Part of it, at least. All right. We still need to do the jawline and the pointy bits at the bottom. So no worries. We're doing great. So again, we're gonna kind of do this jawline. I'm gonna change it slightly. It was able to be a little bit more detailed in the drawing, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do it exactly the same. I'm gonna try. Believe me, I will try. So this is one of those times I can see a bunch of dots here, but I can't tell exactly which dot goes with which thing. So I want our 90-degree angle. I'll pop that in there. I'm gonna pop it here. Okay. And again, that 90-degree angle one really helps us kind of make those turns a little bit better. So now we're just going over the section we just did with the fine line. With actual cuts. And if you have those pumpkin carving kits and you have those saws, perfect. This is exactly how you want to use it. Mine, just because of how sharp it is, it will work like the saws, but the saws are really nice. Part. Yeah, we just wanna. I still do want to be a little careful here, just because this is probably our tightest section with all these little bits. So we want to make sure that none of them kind of collapse or cut into each other too much. There we go. That is, he looks so cute and adorable, and then you remember how evil he is and explodey. But for right this second, he's an adorable little crash fish. All right, so the only other things we have left on our crash fish friend are going to be the kind of the flippers at the bottom and the other spikes. So that's what we're on right now. So we're going to start with the ones farther out. Looks like I can do a punch just right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the same punch over on this side as well. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do one for him too. And then that way we know that these are going to be kind of right. Now, these are flippers, so these are actually going to, they can curve. So this still works well with our current pinholes. They have to get, we want to make sure that they meet in the center. But yeah, one side is flat, the other side is slightly curved. Again, it's going to be a little rough in the beginning, but then when we tidy it up, we can make that look a little bit more curvy, a little bit nicer. Make sure that our squares went in. Our square cut. So again, we're probably gonna pull these bits out. You are stuck. Are you stuck? And there you go. Just a little stuck. There we go. Got some of this. I'm gonna have to clean my wiping pad because I have lots of gunk on it now. There we go. Okay. And so, you know what? We're going to do the other little crashy bit. So we're going to put one here. And we'll put one here. If only it came to a little bit less of an angle. I'd like that. Because I'd make these ones. No, that worked out. That worked out fine. Okay, so we're gonna do this. So we can do a curve like that, and this one's kind of just gonna go straight out. So, oops. There he goes. He's gonna go right there. This one's gonna go out there. And now we have this one. But we're also going to make sure that we go up to our point. Because it was I was gonna say wings, because it's the flippers, it's a little bit farther out as the inner bit, just because it is a longer piece. So that makes sense that this would not be as, I don't think these ones are punched. It wouldn't be as short of a V as the spiky bits are. This one does seem like we're gonna have to actually cut it into two. The other one, it will look like we probably, gosh. It's like a regular, it's just like a crash fish to keep like actually shooting pieces at me. Kind of looks a little bit like Nemo. If I'm honest. He looks a little cute. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so we're gonna put a spot here, and then we're gonna do a spot right here. I have these guys go up. Yeah. That's about the right size. I was worried. It felt like these were going a little. This side was going a little bit longer than the other one, but no, they were both. They both went out pretty far. So. Okay. Prefer to not pop it. Sometimes I can. You'll see when I go to get something, I'll stick it in and I'll push it up against the side to pull it out. You have to be really careful with that, because if the side you're pulling against is not sturdy, it won't work. Case in point, pushing up against these little triangle bits, not the best idea because they are not super sturdy. Okay. That, oops, that's our crash fish. He's done. Crash fish is done. Now we just need to go in and make sure that we get all the little We just scrape up all the sides, make sure they look nice, make sure we're getting all the gunk out that we can, smooth lines, stuff like that. So, yeah, this crash fish was pretty cool. So we have to decide who our other fish is going to be. So we're definitely going to do the peeper. And yeah, maybe we will still wait until the peeper's on, and then we can see what space we have. I'll also have to see what time we have. But I think it's going pretty well. I've actually, with bigger families, when you make pumpkins with kids, you can actually use all of the guts and just put them straight into gloves or Ziploc bags, and then they become like those sensory toys. Oh, it's so great. You know, and then when you're done, you just throw those away, and so much less mess. It's great. It's great. Yeah, we just want to clean out these bits. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of actual cut through on this pumpkin. You know where we might try to get the cut through? One, we might try to get the cut through on the peeper's eye. And then we might also try to get it on the creep vine if I do clusters. Because the creep vine clusters definitely glow. So if we have them actually all the way through showing the candlelight, that might be pretty cool. We could do the same for the the peeper's eye and the creep vine seeds, because they all glow. I think I might have said the peeper's eye twice, but that's okay. He's super important. So yeah, again, if you don't know what I'm doing, I am carving out a frolicking fish scene with the fish from Subnautica. We've got all your favorites: the crash fish, the peeper. So yes, that is our plan. That is what we are working on today. Last week we did Chandelure from Pokemon. It's a ghost type Pokemon that looks like a chandelier. Is also the final evolution of Litwick. So Litwick is a super cute Pokemon. So this worked out very well. And Chandelure is actually in our Pokemon party that we are using currently during the week in the mornings on our Clobblepush Shiny Hunt for Pokemon Sword. And then the first week of October, we did a Horizon Zero Dawn Watcher in pumpkin form. If you have not seen those, both of them are still currently available on Twitch. And they are also available on my YouTube page. Link below. And in both of those videos, just like this one, I kind of walk you through how to carve a pumpkin from start to finish, how to pick out a pumpkin, how to pick out the right design, how to get the design on your pumpkin, hollow it out, all that good stuff. We kind of do start to finish. I've thought about pre-cleaning, but I feel like it's one of those things you need to take into consideration. It's a factor that you need to have when you're carving a pumpkin. So I don't want somebody to watch and be like, oh, it took her an hour. Oh, I can do that. It'll take me an hour. No, because when you actually take the cleaning of the pumpkin, the cleaning takes, I think it took us, close to an hour to kind of go over everything. Yeah. And to get the first design put on here took us about an hour. So from that part, from a clean pumpkin to getting the base design on, it took us about an hour and a half. And now we're going back and we're cleaning up some of the details for the pumpkin. There's a lot of little gunky bits, and I just my OCD is like, nope, can't have those. Gotta get rid of those. There we go. There was a little sliver that was taken out, so we just took this piece to kind of finish the sliver to actually make it a full cut, so it doesn't look bad in a couple days when that part starts to dry. There are some in here that I can't fix, that it was just a slip of the wrist and it just goes too far, so I will not be fixing those, but for the most part I can get. Oops. He was very hungry. Look at all this stuff in his mouth. Ha 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 ha. Sorry. Oh, there's a sliver I can take out, though. And we just have him throwing up all this pumpkin stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We gave him some creepvine seed, and he did not like it. He's like, no, I need sulfur. Just give me sulfur. What a crazy fish. I almost called him a Pokemon. But he is not a Pokemon. I don't know, if he was a Pokemon, he'd be a real jerk Pokemon. I don't really think of the Pokemon as being jerks. Are there any jerk Pokemon? Do you consider any Pokemons to be jerks? The only one I could possibly think of would be Meowth. But that's just from the cartoon. He's a jerk there. And he's only a jerk because of Team Rocket. So, really, it's not his fault. Alright, so we're gonna get a lot of this gunk out. It is sadly not dark enough for me to test and see how this looks. I feel like we're gonna have to take more out of the mouth in the back area. Now where is my little stopper? Here's my stopper. Oh, it's not actually working. Close enough. Like trying to keep it up, but also, yeah, I'm worried there might be we might have to cut a little bit more. This is the jawline, but I think more into the mouth. I didn't want this to be as thick as it is. I would have preferred the mouth to be the thicker part, but it's okay. It's not going to look bad. It's still going to be very detailed. You're still going to be able to see all the lines. It's still going to make sense what you're looking at. That's the big thing, is making sure that, especially when you're doing just like the outlines of things, it has to be clear what it's an outline of. The reason I didn't go with the cuttlefish, which I wanted to, I was the one who suggested the cuttlefish. To do the detail, that's what made the cuttlefish. Cuttlefish was all in the detail, not in the basic lines. And when you're making pumpkins like this, rudimentary lines, just, lines, circles, dashes, things like that, that's what really matters. And cuttlefish doesn't actually have a lot of those. It's a very basic shape, and there it basically was just like a figure eight with a bunch of striggles, a bunch of like strings and stuff sticking off of it. So not too much to work with, unfortunately. So that's why I said no to the cuttlefish. Wah wah wah. I think these were actually cleaned out pretty well. There's really only a little bit of gunk. There's none in that side, which is great. This side maybe a little bit more. No, that came out pretty clean. And this one has a little bit, but it's already loose, which is good. It means I don't have to go like hunting after it. I want to be careful because that one is a little loose, that little tooth there, so I don't want to use it and use leverage against it, as that might destroy it. Okay. Okay. Almost done. Oops. That was the sharp side of my knife, not the flat side that I thought it was. Tried to, oops. It did stab that a little bit. Darn. Darn. So, I'm gonna slice. I smacked this little tooth part of that. So it looks like it might be a little loose. Okay. And I was gonna say ear. It's not really his ear. I think that's still another spike. Most of the crash fish is spikes. Just funny because he explodes. So if he explodes, why does he need so many spikes? Anybody got an answer to that? I know I don't. Yeah, I did have a little bit more in the mouth to clean out. Okay. Done. That's mostly done. Okay. And that. Okay. So our crash fish is done. Yay, crash fish! So he is done. He is beautiful. He is perfect. All right. And we're just gonna get some of this stuff moved out of the way. And then we're gonna put our outline for the peeper on. And we'll do the peeper. Pepper, peeper, pipper, pupper. Okay. Have myself a couple strips. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch these guys so I can see my drawing again. So again, this is what we got for our peeper. And he's gonna go about here. I think would be nice. We'll still have this spot's going to be creep vine. But I want to give some movement to this. So I think I'll do this here and then... Yeah. Unless we want to have the peeper like this. And then we could do... We could do the Gary fish going down. Or we could do the peeper going this way and the bladderfish going this way. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do the bladderfish. He is a special guy. He gives you water. Or, yeah, he gives you water in the game. We like the bladderfish. Gary fish is super cute, though. I'm not gonna lie. I love the Gary fish. He's so dorky. But I think what we need is... I think we're gonna need the peeper. So if we do the peeper... And then we do the bladderfish going up like this. And maybe we could actually do the creep vine like around it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll just end up doing the 3 fish. All right, but I think this is a good idea for him right here. All right. Take some tape. And he's going down. Downtown. Well, or he could be like this and the Gary fish could be... I'm struggling, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to decide how best to do it. I mean, I could have him and I could do the Gary fish like that. So if we had... the Gary fish like that. And the peeper could be like that. I'm trying to make sure we fill the space appropriately, you know? We could have them like almost chasing each other. Couldn't really do that with you, but we could do it with the bladderfish because we could have him going down that way. We could have him going like that. I think maybe that's what we'll do. All right, let me put him here. Okay. And then... Yeah, sometimes you gotta fold over the paper a little bit, and that's okay. That is perfectly fine. There we go. All right. So we're gonna have it like that. I guess before we do that, I do want to make sure... Where's the parchment paper? Move our parchment paper. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to draw out... I'm going to draw out both of them real quick. And then we can see kind of what we're working with. So we can really make sure this is exactly what we want. Before I put the peeper down, who's kind of like our main boy, I do want to make sure that we have it right. So I would love for it to be interchangeable. So we could be like, oh yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work. Let's switch another one. Hello, Buster, how's it going? Super spooky Sunday to you. Hopefully you're having a super Sunday. There is our bladderfish drawing. And our gearfish. Because he's really long, he's going to have to go like this, which is perfectly fine because we were prepared for that. 22 shiny Charmander yesterday. Ooh! In Go, very nice. You must have played for the entire 6 hours. I think I only ended up playing for about 2 hours. I think I ended with 6 shinies. Something like that. But that's awesome. Did you sign up for the special quests? Did you do the spend the dollar to get the extra quests? I was thinking about it and I realized I had a ton of candy already. So I was like, you know what? I might as well do this. So I did it and it was cool. I have enough to mega evolve. Yes, you're trying the impossible on sword. No, oh. I'm trying the impossible on sword and no. What's the impossible? Getting a shiny without a shiny charm. Oh, that's what I've been doing. I don't have a shiny charm. I mean, now I don't have many shinies to show for it, but... Yeah! 3,802 was my shiny Nickit. So, we could do a Gary Fish. Or we could do a Bladderfish. We could have them both coming up to the top. Or we could have the Bladderfish swimming away the opposite direction. What do we think? You know, I'm thinking the Bladderfish. I think the Bladderfish. I think we'll do that. Yeah. And we'll have him like swimming away because he sees the... They're all shooting off in different directions because the Crash Fish is like, hi! Stupid autocorrect. So how many... So basically, the best rate that you would get for either having the shiny charm or not is if you battle 500. Once you have battled 500, you go without a shiny charm. You go down to a 1 in 600, and it's like either 40 or 680 chance every time you see one. But it drops, I think once you've battled 100, it drops to like You originally start with, I think, like 1 in like 4,000 or something, and then it drops to 1 in 2,000. So, yeah. All right. Okay. So, here is our design. Yeah. I think this will work. I think this looks nice. All right. So, where's our pin? Here's our pin. And I normally press on the right to do things, so I think we're going to do the bladderfish first. Do the bladderfish first. So we will do... a couple of these little holes. You know what? And this, I'm probably just going to end up doing the same thing I did with the cheeks. We'll put those there. So that'll make it a little... oops, sorry, my head's in the way. Make it a little bit easier for us to do it, and a little bit more uniformed as well. Stab these little guys through. Look, the bladderfish is a very helpful fish, man. So I think... this was a good one for us to do. So we have the bladderfish and we have the peeper. Very, very essential. And both of them are in both games. Crashfish, not in Below Zero, but the peeper and the bladderfish are. So maybe that's what it is the crashfish is like, hey guys, where'd you go? And they're like, nowhere, gotta go. And he's like, I want to come along. And they're like, no, you're good. Oh, that was the other one. The only one I didn't do a drawing of that I wanted to was I wanted to sketch out if to do a you're trying to get Snowrunt. Oh, you want the blue one. Oh, very cool. You'll be around your just checking. Oh, well, thanks for stopping in and saying hi. And yeah, good luck. It was not as bad. I feel like it could have been a lot worse. So you just gotta stay positive and keep getting them. Make sure you battle them. Don't just run away, because it doesn't count. Those just count as encounters, but you need to actually, like, fight him. All right. Okay, so again, we have our, I don't know how well you can see, there's our bladderfish outline. Kind of looks like a sea turtle. So we're gonna do him up over here. All right, so first off, we'll do this kind of like outer line. So this is the kind of half heart part that goes around him. So maybe I'll start over here. What is it doing? Oh, it goes over here. Okay. I got my lines confused. I was like, wait a second. Which line are we doing? Okay. It does come pretty close to the head and body line thing. So we're going to try to be very careful when we do that part. I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it will be too dangerous of a thing for us to attempt. So, I wanted to do this part first and then do the little dangly bits at the top. just because I knew we were going to be pressing in on it, and I was worried that that might be too much for that area. Turn our pumpkin this way. Big thing is we want to be careful of not hurting the crash fish down at the bottom. That's our biggest concern, is the crash fish, because he's already there, he's done, he's perfect, and there's not much wiggle room if we mess him up. So it's not really an easy way to correct it if we do something. Yes. So, we put this guy down, but we have not put any puncture wounds in puncture wounds. We haven't put any of the little puncture marks in the peeper yet, but we did put the puncture in for the bladderfish. So we're basically having them run away from the crazy crash fish who's like, "Rah, I'm right here." But we want to be very careful of our crash fish friend so that he does not get damaged. Yeah, with the thicker sculpting tools, it is kind of hard to get like curves and things like that done, just because they don't. It's such a big blade, it makes it kind of hard to do. But we got most of it off in one go there, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, we have to stab this a couple of different times in a couple different directions before we can get it out, just because it does not want to it doesn't want to come out of there. But we kind of knew that that was going to be a thing. No, that's not coming. Okay. There we go. This part here should come out. It just doesn't want to. There it goes. All right, so we have part 1 of the bladderfish complete. And like I said, I think we might use the curvy bit ones to do this. But a part of me is like, oh wow, that's delicate. Okay, hold on. Oh, see, that's already snapped. Oh no. So what happened was there was a random cut. So that's not gonna look. It's gonna look fine now. It will look fine now, but in a couple of days, that's gonna separate that tiny little spot right there. Not the best, but hey, it could be. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. And that's more exactly what I was talking about with this knife. Is because it's so wide, it's really hard to get a hard like turn out of it. It does not want to curve because you have so much. Yeah, I'm trying to use it to fix this stuff, and it's making it worse. So we're just not gonna muck around with it too much right there. Oops. Stuff everywhere. All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna try this again. We'll do another one of these guys. Punctury guy here. And you know what? Because we have it in our hand, we'll do that punctury guy too. And then really all we're doing is going like that. However, I forgot that we did two of them. There you go. There we go. Perfect. I'm also going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to prep this with this long line, and then when we put the other, we should be able to just pull that piece out. Perfect. Okay. So we got that going for our bladderfish. I think we will do the head now. So again, I'm going to use my circular one, knowing that I can't actually make a perfect circle, but that's okay because this is more of an oval anyway. But I do want to be very careful of my crash fish and also of the peeper, not because we've done any cuts into it yet, but because of honestly getting all of the pencil mark on my hand, which we can see has already happened. But the more I can limit it, the better. And then it goes like this. So what we'll do is we'll draw our line first. This line. We're gonna have to kind of, because it is slightly curved, we're gonna try something. We're gonna try this thing. I don't know if it'll really work, but we're gonna try it anyway. But it helps kind of make that end part look a little bit more curvy versus squared off, because it needs to be the other side of this. And my goodness, I don't know how we're gonna get, hopefully our puncher went down far enough. Oh, I think it did. We should be able to get, yes, yay, we got his head out. Perfect. Okay. And that kind of, that worked real well. I have pumpkin bits in my hair. Alright, let's see. So we just now need to get this bit out, which shouldn't be too hard because this should all be connected in this convenient straight line. It should not be difficult. And in fact, it wasn't that difficult. We were able to get it out. There's some pieces that went a little cockeyed, so we need to clean those bits. Perfect. Get that out. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Now, is this wide enough for us to get our square one in? I have pumpkin all over myself now. That last little bit was a little difficult. I can get this one in. It's not really the one I wanted. I can get the, I told you, this was the most ambitious one we've done. Because of all the little tiny parts and things, and this pumpkin is being very, very challenging. Okay. Thing is, I do want to get this stuff out of here. Because we're doing pretty well with the bladderfish. So I'd like to not have to come back and fix him later or at the end. So I think if we get all this gunk off him now, he should be fine. There's just a lot of gunk. Might need to actually put another. Whoops! Come back! Don't run away! Okay. I was thinking. Oh my goodness gracious! Just pumpkin bits going everywhere. Okay. Got that one. Like, all of a sudden I saw this little tiny piece in there. I'm like, there shouldn't be anything in these. What the heck? Just trying to make it harder for me. Bladderfish is still... Yep, we're still making a bladderfish. Alright. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Alright. I just gotta clean out. Oh. Clean out this side. Oops. Probably saw that shooting right towards the camera. That's what it looked like to me. Maybe a little bit lower, but yeah. Luckily, we learned last week that cats can eat pumpkin. So the cat is in fact safe if he decides, if he decides to come up and try to eat stuff off the floor. He will be fine. That was a very big concern of mine, but we found out that it's actually very good for them, very healthy for them, and apparently they like it. I did give, actually, no, my husband gave our rabbit a pumpkin seed, and she loved it. But she ate it so fast, and she was like, okay, more please. And we're like, well, you've never had a pumpkin seed before. We want to make sure that you're okay. And she was just like looking at us like, okay, more please. Like, oh my goodness, Kira. Oh my bunny goodness. Alright, so how does that look? It does not look fantastic, if I'm at all honest with myself. Mostly because this section here is a little janky. Okay, well that kind of fixed it a little bit. Maybe I should invest in like a little like really good suction tiny vacuum thing. Maybe I can just like vacuum this stuff up. It's one of those things that I only really carve pumpkins once a year. Well, one time during the year. So it's like, do I really want to invest in anything that I wouldn't be able to use for anything else? It's like, pumpkin just starts rolling away from me. All right. So that part, I was gonna say that part's nice and clean, and looking back, there's like gunk. Still gunk. Okay. All right. Now that looks a lot more tidier. Yeah. Well, it depends on how close we want to get inside. So. All right. Okay. Now we go to the next kind of winged part of this. So maybe instead of doing the curve with the blade that didn't work too well, we'll use those pieces. The our actual curved crescent blade. Where's that go? That goes to here. Okay, great. Well, okay. Curve this guy in. Yeah. See, this thing just ruins it every time. The longer blade. It was like, what are we doing? And it just jumped in. Oh, God. That looks like it could look really bad. Well, we'll see. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully it's not as bad as I think it is. Again, famous last words by Arista Jade. I'm sure it's not too bad. This thing's already. Oh no. Okay. Wait, is this? This isn't even the right line. Oh my goodness gracious. The bladderfish is mad at me. Can't even get the piece out. Okay, so try this again. Remember, these things happen. You just gotta take a deep breath. Try it again. Because it's just one spot that's hanging on. That's always what it is. There's just one like holdout in the whole thing. And as soon as you find it, you'll be fine. It's just there's one little piece that's clinging on to the wall, and so you can't actually pull the piece out. So we got it. And right now it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to, so I think that's a plus. Again, the whole thing is I don't think it looks as bad as I think it should. But we have not fully seen how it's going to look yet. I wish I had an assistant. I'd be like, assistant, please clean this thing. I am done with it now. But no such luck. wasn't entirely what I was trying to do. It's trying to get the piece out. There it goes. Okay. Maybe I can train my cat to do it. No. I can't train my cat to do anything. So I doubt I could teach him to change out my well, he could come up here and he could eat the pumpkins off of it. That's a thing he could do. Okay. All right. Let's grab. Let's clean this off slightly so we can see what we're working with. We got this part right here. There we go. That's okay. Okay. I know there's more gunk in there, but just for the side, because I just saw this little spot here. I get okay. Get that off. Okay, perfect. Okay, all right. That's not looking too bad. That did not curve out as much as I wanted it to. Okay, it's a little flat there. He's one of the bladderfish that you caught and released. That's really what it is. Yeah. Let's go with that. Sure. Okay. So what I want to do is, how does it work? Okay, it goes out like this. All right. So we're gonna do. Oof. Oh, that's so close. No wonder that one broke. Okay. Yeah. About that. Yeah, no wonder that one broke. Okay. It's so close to the edge. Okay. Actually, almost looks. Ooh. If you guys can see it, but when I'm cutting in, it's like pushing the side in as well. It's like, oh, nope, not that. Okay, sorry, my bad. I didn't mean that. I don't know if that one was done perfect because it didn't. Oh, okay, that got better. Okay. All right. Okay. So there is our bladderfish done. I swear, it looks like a sea turtle. I like him though. I like him. And there isn't too much that needs to be cleaned up because we did spend a little bit of time cleaning him already. But it looks like there's just a little bit more gunk in this one. But we had a harder time with this one. Oh, thanks, Pink. Thank you so much. I think it's looking pretty good. Gunk everywhere. And my raccoon wounds. Okay. Yeah, pumpkin gum just does not ever want to. It's not sticky, but it's sticky. You know what I mean? Like it gets stuck in places and doesn't want to actually like remove itself. I might try to make this more of a point Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. I pointed this one out because this one was a lot more pointed. Okay. That should be pretty close to him being done and cleaned, which is nice. Oh, there's a little bit of stuff up here. Darn. Yeah, depending on which tool I use, oh, I can get different types of gunk places. So. That sometimes works, is if you kind of like push your finger on it, kind of get a pile of stuff stuck to it. But again, I have it just all over me. It's everywhere. Nope, that was my hair, not the stuff. Okay, that's great. Okay. Yeah, I want to like grab stuff, but I don't want to also lose my paper towel every time. Gotta be resourceful. Okay. So he is looking pretty good. Say there was just a little bit in the head part, and I'm like, I have a scoop that can do this. Let me just use my scoop to do this. There we go. Okay. Perfect. So our bladderfish is done, and so is our crash fish. So now the most important of all is the peeper. So we're gonna get him as soon as I clean off some of the stuff. Clean, clean, clean. Clean dish, mostly. There we go. This paper towel inside out. There we go. Oh, it's glorious. Look at some of the disgusting stuff going away. Perfect. Okay. So now we have. I'm gonna have to cut that off. The little tip that I accidentally cut into, it was dangling. So might as well cut it now. It's just gonna fall off and look weird later. Okay. All right. So our peeper friend here, we're going to I like peepers. Peepers were a good source of food, good source of fun, and really played a very important part in Subnautica, which I will not spoil for you. But yeah, peepers are great. And that's why he deserves to be on our pumpkin. He deserves to have a prominent place on our pumpkin. So he goes in the top. The more pin marks you do, if you're sure of your design, lots of pin marks are great because you can basically trace the line and it makes it very obvious about what you're doing. If you're not sure, doing the basic like, okay, here's the point, here's the end point kind of thing, that's fine too. But especially if you've kind of worked it out, you've been very careful about how you're going to be doing your lines, where the lines are meeting up, then doing a bunch of them, kind of like almost like a sewing machine, do That's good because it gives you that very clear line and you're not going to get lost and confused as you're trying to cut or carve your pumpkin. What I'm going to do is, because I'm not sure about the depth of the, or how close this is going to be, I'm just going to do this outer line. I'm going to be very careful with that too. I'm also going to be, I'm just going to do the center line here. I'm just going to make a line because I'm not sure exactly how this is going to turn out. Because that might get a little close in there, is the only thing I'm a little concerned about. Let me come down to here. My finger, I'm pushing a little hard into my safety pin, so all of my fingers have weird little lines. Also, the ink from the, you can see it's getting like black right there. It's just all that, it's pumpkin gunk and ink or lead from the pencil. Kind of funny. Oops. I'm looking at this line and I'm like, this line's really cockeyed compared to the other line. Like, do I really want to do this one? I'm like, I don't know. It's already kind of done. Now, the fact that this is loose down here might actually be a problem for us. I should have been holding it down. That's my bad. That might actually change where the lines were. So I'm going to hold it down now. That's, again, one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the tape, is that I get lulled into like a false sense of security with the tape. I feel like, oh yeah, no, this is perfectly fine. The tape won't lead me astray. And it's like, but it will. So, yeah. I'm also changing this triangle a little bit. We'll see. Okay, all that is done. So let us take off our tape and see our paper print. Oh no, that worked out perfect. Okay, that actually. But this is, if you saw the other lines that I did, this one, I did, I'm pretty confident in our design. So I did a lot of dots, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Exactly what you're looking for. So, okay, we'll put our pin over there. And I think I might actually do the eye first. And I might work around the eye from here. I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Here we go. Just to be on the safe side. To make sure, because the eye is kind of the most important part of the... I'm actually making this worse. What am I doing? It was pretty close, and then I was like, oh, let me just clean up this little spot. Famous last. All right, so now that we have done that, this inner part, probably didn't even need the the dots for this. I probably should have just free-handed this one. But what are you gonna do? However, I'm very, very concerned about this just because of how big my blade is. I'm trying to be very, very gentle with it because I don't want. I've decided to make this line the two inner parts of the eye. I want to make this line and this line. I'm gonna make these very, very small, like just a sliver. So, but of course, it's at an angle, and angles are not very good with a flat blade. So I think that went okay. Try to do it again, just like that. And I am trying to make sure I kind of kill some of those the pin marks, just so they're not there or obvious because we're not. Okay. Sorry, got a little quiet there. Trying to make sure that this one doesn't go bad. Okay, let's also. I wanna. Yeah, if you can get rid of the pin marks, that's the best thing to do. If you can't, oh well, it looks like a blemish on the penguin on the pumpkin, so it's not a big deal. But if we can, I always like to. So I think that the eye looks pretty good. Eye looks pretty good. I do feel like there's gunk in the eyeball that I still want to take out, but okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Good. Okay. So now this outer one. So originally it was supposed to be much thicker. Might go for a thin one here too. Let's see. Lines. Perfect. I can go out a little bit with this. They still have some room. But basically, I'm just going, and this is why I put the pins in the center, because I wanted to, I'm going to go out just a little bit on the sides of it. And this is something we might actually just use the flat one for. He might be able to get us what we're looking for. Better than because this one's actually a shorter blade than the curved one. Okay. So this is coming up pretty good. It's also kind of pushing the stuff in, which is okay because it is such a tight squeeze. We might not be able to get it out. My only comment is that one side looks, this side looks a little fatter than the other side. So we do have to fix that. Trying to cut these little bits off, and it's just not having it. It's like, no, we like to stay here. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, I prefer you to not be a jerk, but that's okay. That's your thing. I don't want to go too far out. You know, we've talked about before about, you know, you can always cut more, but you can't cut less. That's the real concern right now. I really don't want to cut any extra on the left part of this. Just want to cut it on the right. So trying to meet back it makes sense because you're gonna, you know, try to get a nice flat line. But if you meet back and you go too far, well, then you've gone too far again. So it doesn't look that bad. And I don't want to go too far out on the other side to have to then match that side to this side. And then, of course, everything we do here, we're going to have to completely copy on the other side. But I think that I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Okay. So, roll it back over. I just want to make sure I get those dots. Okay. Cool. I think we're doing a pretty good job. Not too big in any one spot, but it is. I did make it a little bit thicker than I did the first time around. I don't want to press. I almost pressed on the crash fish. Like, no, not crashy. So be a little careful in here. Make sure we're not. Oops. Well, that was cool. That was a nice big piece. I was gonna say that part looked a little thin. Nope, that was the previous line. We fixed it. Okay. This is super jagged. I'm not happy about because now we're gonna have to go through and and fix it. I don't know how it got that jagged, but it could have been worse. Could have been worse, and I think I got it for the most part. So, let's see. Sorry if you've watched me play certain video games where there's like precise things that need to be done. I tend to stop talking. But I always come back. I just need to. My brain is like, no, we need to focus on this. Like, okay, all right, you can have it. Just a couple minutes. But you got to give it back later. It's like, okay. Yeah, I think it definitely did not go down very far, but I think I'd rather have it not have gone down very far than have gone down and been wrong. You know what I mean? So let's stupid center the like pupil. Still don't know what's wrong with it. It just doesn't look perfect. All right. How's that eye? Well, one side is definitely. This one's definitely a little bit thicker. Let me see if I can do. that. Okay, I think that fixed it. That fixed it. Okay. So, how's our peeper eye looking? I think it's looking pretty good. I think it's looking pretty good. Okay. So now, let's try. So this spot right here is basically what I wanted to do, something like just use the circle-y cutout guide, but I don't think that's gonna work, so we're gonna do that instead. I think this looks better. Okay. And unfortunately, one of those things that I can't actually cut out properly. I think we're just gonna have to use the circular piece for most of it. Concerned this one's gonna turn into something we're gonna have to like really redo or change it. Actually, it's not looking that bad. I take that back. I'm allowed to take it back. Okay. I think it's the angle I was at. It just looked weird. A little peeper nose. That works. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Try to figure this out. I'll do this. Okay, there we go. So I decided I wanted to start these two off in the exact same way, so I knew they were right. So we're going to do that. And then we will cut or sculpt this section right back here. But again, remember, details on a drawing rarely transfer to pumpkin carvings, because you just can't get everything the exact same as how you want it to look. What you can do on paper is very different than what you can do in a pumpkin. I just realized that this one, it looked really strange to me, and I didn't know why, and it's because it got, I think the dots got messed up slightly. So I'm actually a little irritated with this because I could have fixed this, but I didn't. The good thing, though, is I was like, wow, that's a really close line, forgetting that that's actually attached to this. So, yeah, his front, his top fin, dorsal? No. Dorsal's the bottom one, right? Top fin's going to be a little, it is a little bit shorter than this one we did, or thinner than this one, but look a little bit thinner than I originally planned as well. But that's okay. That's all right. Make sure we get all those dots out of it. Perfect. My square pointer, and this will work perfectly to punch. Gives us a nice straight line without a smaller straight line than we would have been able to get with anything else. So effects. Oops. Oh. Caught it. Not entirely sure what's wrong with this piece and why it won't come out. But we will figure it out. There we go. Okay. So, how's this look? It's looking not bad. Doesn't look bad. I do not think that that's looking too bad at all. I am doing that thing where I go back to places I've already said looked good and fixing them because they don't look good anymore. It always happens. At some point, I'd be like, this is a perfect thing. Change 5 things. That's why I'm a very... I like to think that I'm a very creative person, but I also like to have very clear directives, like for a project or something, because if you don't tell me to stop, I will just keep going. I don't know what's good enough, because very few things are ever good enough for me. So I want it to be perfect. So if I don't have, a very clear directive, we're just gonna keep going till I think it's the best that it could possibly ever be, which might not even be possible. So, yeah. Right. So I think, yeah, there were so many times I want to go back to the other pumpkins and be like, let me change. I'm like, no, stop. All right, how's that look? That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right, now we'll do this one down here. So we had this flat piece is that. What did we do? I can't even tell. So we're gonna follow that line, follow this line. I'll do this, that line, yes. And do this. You gotta punch it. Perfect. Be very careful with that line, because that is very dangerously close to the eye. So I want to make sure that that is not going to interfere with his sight. To a point. And that's not good, because I did not prepare that for a point. I'm sure it's fine. It'll be fine. Maybe we also grabbed this peeper too and then released him. Maybe he got caught in the grav trap. Maybe that's what it is. He got caught in the grav trap. He's not the smartest peeper anymore. He's a little derpy, both physically and mentally. Just a little derp. And really, is there ever anything wrong with a little bit of derp? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of derp. especially if it explains why something I did is the way it looks. So goes like that. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's start trying to get some of these pieces out. Okay. Nice. I did carve a pumpkin one time where every single cut came out like beautifully smooth, and I was like, what just happened? It was the most amazing thing ever, and I was like, this is how all pumpkins should be. And then like the next pumpkin I did, like nothing wanted to come out of the holes, and I was like, okay, never mind, it was just a fluke. I was like, have I become a pumpkin master? No, no, I have not. I just apparently got real lucky with some of my cuts. But trust me, it was a glorious day. It's like this is how all pumpkins should be. They should all just pop out like this. And I was like, yeah, they should. They don't. We gotta be very careful because the nose is up there, the little peeper mouth. I want to hurt that. But I'm running into a lot of problems here. And I think I've actually extended this side a little bit more than I wanted to, just because there was a lot going on. I don't know why this one isn't cutting. Or this one isn't popping out. So I guess we'll try to cut it into smaller pieces still. Shoot. Yeah, this is ridiculous. What is it doing? It was like cut in half and folded and diagonal and okay, here we go. But as soon as we got that piece, the rest of them should be better. There we go. Yeah, that's a little bit more mangled than I would have liked for it to be, but this does not look pretty. We're gonna have to really fix this. But I still can't really see what we're working with because it's so still filled with gunk. Sorry, I want to make sure you guys can see it. And again, at any point, if you want to see it better, if my big head's in the way, just let me know, and I will be happy to move because I'm not always looking at the camera when I'm doing stuff. I kind of just get stuck in. Alright, oops. Yeah. Big chunk there. Perfect. Okay. I think it's looking a little bit better. It's looking a little less mangled. Still not great. I'm still not super happy with what happened. I don't even know how that. Oh, it was trying to get the piece out. I was like, what got us so messed up there? And that's what it was. It was trying to get the actual chunk of pumpkin out, and it just kept mangling the side. So. Oh well. I don't think it's not terrible or anything. It's definitely still workable. It's just not the prettiest sight to behold, for sure. Take this guy. He's not that bad. He's not that bad. He's just... He's just. That's it. He's just. Where all these pieces are coming from. Yeah, that's the problem with you want to be like, oh, let me just take this one piece off. Okay, let me take this next piece off. Nope, you have to like wipe your hands down because if you don't get rid of it, it will stick back to the pumpkin. And then you'll have all the pieces like everywhere. Okay. I'm always tempted to like flip the pumpkin upside down and just like shake the gunk out of it. But I know that that's not a good idea. Shouldn't do that. Oh, pumpkin. Ah, pumpkin. All right. That's good. All right, let's move on to the final bits, the tail section. So I'm going to do a punch here. And we'll do a punch here. Apparently a little bit higher for you. That one's already there. All right, cool. And now, oh, hold on. Get this one has a lot of gunk on it. Okay, there we go. All right. So we're gonna then take this line down here. This line down here. Same thing with this and this. No, that might be a little close for the wavy thin bit, so we're gonna have to be very careful with that. I tend to do stuff on the left before I do the right, just because I tend to, because I'm right-handed, I rest my right hand, the right side of my hand down. Yeah. Yeah. It's looking promising. That was pretty good. So I kind of just forced that one to break because we want a little bit of a square down at the bottom, but I don't have a small enough tool for that. So I just kind of I crisscrossed the blade. I had it went like go like this, and then I had it went like this, and then we just popped the two between, and that just created a flat surface for us, which works out pretty well. I do want to clean this because of how close this is to this side into this side. So I want to make sure we clean this one out so we don't have to come back and do it. I'm going to do the same thing with this one when I do it. I do have to little bit of scraping in there. Almost just rubbed pumpkin all over my face. But I was very smart and was like, wait a second, no! Don't use the pumpkin part. Okay. There's stuff in there already. It's like it was already cleaned out. How is it still dirty? It's like children, right? You give them a bath, 5 minutes later, they're already dirty again. You're like, what happened? You couldn't have possibly gotten into anything. But that's just children for you. They're dirty. Alright. We're also going to, I'm going to do over here. This over there. So what I want to do is follow this little curve. So my finger slipped and it went straight into this. Luckily, it's just our guiding line, but that is not good. That was very not good. We weren't going too deep, but it did cross into the other one. Oh. Dang. Dang it. Dang it. I'm going to do one like, I'll do a pop there. So we do have to be very careful here because we have cut. Oh, and I think that was deeper than I was hoping it was. No. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know if you can see that is broken. That's cut right there. Oh, but that's okay. And that piece came out so beautifully too. Oh well. Oh well. Wellity, wellity, wellity. Ever notice most of my phrases and jokes come from The Simpsons? Just in case you didn't know. Right, we're gonna cut this guy out. We're gonna end up doing the same thing at the bottom with this one that we did the other one. Where we create a little bit of we create an X and then we just force it to be open. But we're gonna grab these chunks out first. And then down here, pop them out. There you go. There it is. Okay. All right. That out. So that actually looks pretty good. But of course, it's me, so I'm going to make some changes to it. No, that was pretty decent. That came out really well. Okay. I'm happy with that. One of the few things I'm happy with. Okay. And now for this one, which we hope I will not butcher the same way I did the other side. I'm trying to be very gentle. Okay, there we go. Good. We're on the outer edge. The outer edge is a little bit easier to do. And what we decided was we did a square off. Not that this one wanted to be squared off, but it's going to be. All right. We're going to cut, make sure this is all cut through. Yeah. Nice. Okay, that makes up for some of the mistakes I've done. That came out very nicely. Yeah, you have a better chance of getting like a full plunk to come out, the full chunk of pumpkin, if you're doing bigger blocks. But again, because we're doing like slices, it's gonna be harder to do. But yeah, the getting I always feel a sense of accomplishment when like a big chunk of the pumpkin just comes out in one pull, and you're like, yes, I am the best pumpkin carver. Anybody else feel that way? I know I do. Uh, okay, all right, looking good. All right, so the only thing we have to do is finish the this bit right here. So the idea is to do this, this, and that. This part goes here. This part goes here. These both get a squared off bit. Kind of. It's gonna make a little triangle, but we're not gonna use that triangle. It's kind of what's happening. We're using our own triangles. We do it our own way with our own triangles. You can't stop us. And there's most of that triangle, and then this little guy. What's gonna do? And that is our peeper. Peeper. Okay. So we have crashfish, peeper, bladderfish on our pumpkin. What do you guys think? Trying to decide if I should cut some off some of this. Some of the pinpoints that you can see. I really only see them a lot with a peeper because the pencil lead came through. So I kind of almost painted it. Yeah. Really only one spot on these guys, on the crash fish, that you can see the pins, but it doesn't I don't think you see it very well, so that's good. That is good. Now, here's the thing. I'm wondering if we even want to do creep vine. I'm thinking he might just look good like this. Let's see. Let's see if I can show you. Aw, thanks, Doc. I'm hoping that that's supposed to be a happy thing. Let's see. Oh, I have this. Okay. I'm gonna try to illuminate it. Oh, hello, Gray. How are you? Hello, cat. Oops. I gotta do it on both sides. Hi! Your chair's over there so people can see you. It's just emergency, you know. I don't have a candle I can use, so just makeshift. Makeshift. Alright, right? How's that look? And there's a cat. What do you think? Hi. Do you approve? Or do you just come for pumpkin? Pumpkin bits. Is that what you're here for? You just want some pumpkins? Oh, I know. I know your MO. There we go. So that's our... Yeah. We could do a little bit more cleaning. He came out... Crashfish came out real well. Look at him being all crazy. Bladderfish I like. I like bladderfish a lot. I think we could probably do a little bit more cleaning up in there to get the, Oh, are you helping? Oh, you're so helpful, Gray. Thank you. Hi. Probably get a little bit more definition in the bladderfish if we, Thank you for helping, Gray. You're very helpful. And by helpful, I definitely mean helpful and not annoying. Can you not eat the pumpkin top, please? Can you not eat it? What can I eat? Yes, kitten love. Kitten love from Baby Gray. Are you having fun? The camera's up here. You gotta look up here, Gray. Great. Up here. Up here. No? Hi. It's almost dinner time. Is that what this is? Is that what this is? It's almost dinner time? No? No, you came up here because you want to help me? Uh-huh. Yeah, you do. Of course you do. Such a helpful cat. You're so helpful, Gray. Please, you're gonna break it. You're gonna break it. Yes, you are. I know you don't care because it's not food, but I would be very sad if you broke it. I would be very sad if you broke my pumpkin. Yes, I would be. I'd be very sad. Yes. See, it look a little bit better? I think it looks a little bit better. Oh, are you seriously trying to ruin everything? No, you're not doing that. You're not. Uh-huh. This is my cat, Gray, for anybody wondering. And he apparently thinks he knows how to carve pumpkins better than me, and has decided to come and try to give us some helpful hints on how to do pumpkins. Thanks, Gray. What are you doing? He's a very strange cat. Alright, so there's our... There's our pumpkin. I was thinking about it and I was like, we could still do the creep vine, but for the size that they are to make the creep vine look good, I think it would be silly. It would just be the wrong placement of things. You know what I mean? I just don't think that it would be as well received in the actual design as I would want it to be. You still have so much gunk in your horn, antler. stabby thing. You need a stabby thing. Oh, well, see, that one doesn't look that bad with the light. For you guys, it's more this side. Aw, thanks, Canine. I appreciate it. But you would have said that no matter what I did because it's Subnautica. You are a resident Subnautica fanatic fan. So, I have a feeling that no matter what I did, you would have been very... I could have written Subnautica on the pumpkin and you would have said it was wonderful. I mean, now, in all seriousness, it probably would have been. But... Bye, Gray. Thanks for... something. I'm sure you were very helpful. So there we go. We got our peeper. We got our bladderfish. We got our crashfish. Crashfish came out really well. It's true. Pink Baby did think it looked good. You're right. And I do believe that that is what Doc was saying too. Doc is a viewer of a few words. Lots of memes though, and emotes. Okay. Well, I think before I muck it up anymore, I think yeah. Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, I think this turned out really very well. It's not exactly what I had originally planned on, but I think that that's okay. This is not... Normally, this is a good thing to hold them up, but... Close. It's close. I was saying something, but I've already forgotten. But yeah, so I think it turned out pretty well, and we actually got to see it lit up, which we usually don't get to see because usually they take a little bit more time for me to do the details on. But hey, we did 3 different characters from it, and I think they look really good. So again, we got our peeper, we got our crashfish, we got our bladderfish, all from Subnautica, and the bladderfish and the peeper are both in Subnautica Below Zero, which is an awesome game. If you have not played it yet, I highly recommend it. Both of them are great games. So, the last thing I want to do is I want to show you how to do this glove. I want to show you how to do the zombie hand. Because we've been talking about it, and I have a little bit of time today to do it. So we're going to put it here. So what you want to do, I'm going to put a glove on because it could get a little nasty. But you get your glove, and you get your gunk. The thicker pieces, they're okay. What you can do is put them in as like almost like the bones. The best part though is the gunk, the really orangey bits, and you want to make sure that you're getting those like down into the actual fingers. So again, why it's better to use gloves. And then what you can do is, again, you can take some of these like more spindly bits and also shove them down, because it kind of feels like if you get it in there, it can feel like the bone. So do that. We're going to take some of this gunk into this one. Okay. So again, this is just a little fun. You can use it as, I've used it as like a stress ball just around Halloween time. Just had one and just been like, okay, I need a break. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. But they're really fun to make if you have kids or younger siblings. It's fun because you can tell them they're zombie hands, and kids get a kick out of it, or other hands and stuff. Especially if you have like the different colored gloves. They have like green gloves and blue gloves. You can put them in. The blue gloves also tend to be a little bit sturdier a lot of the time, so you can do those. And so you just shove the pieces into the little spots. You want to make sure it's nice and packed. Got to make sure we don't forget the thumb. It is recommended that you don't have the small children making the glove, but you make it and then give it to them, because sometimes they get a little messy. And really, when you're mucking around with this much gunk, you really don't want it to get super messy. Yeah, you see it's kind of coming together. And yeah, already if you squeeze between, if you don't know, also if you ever do, I know my office did, a couple of the offices got together and decided that we were going to do like a mini haunted house. And so in one of the offices, when you walked through it, there was like you stuck your hand in a box and you squeezed the box and you had to guess what it was. You can do stuff like this. So if you ever participate in one of those kind of things, making the zombie hands for that is really kind of cool. So you don't want to shove it too full, because you do need to close it off. You definitely want to make sure that you close it off right, so that bits don't go flying everywhere. But make sure, I always forget. I don't always, but a lot of times when I do forget part of it, it's the thumb. I forget the thumb. Because it's just a little bit different, a little bit off to the side. Put there. I just want to make sure all the fingers have stuff. If you want to be really detailed, you can make sure that you shove a wider piece in here, because this kind of feels like a nail. I got it for some of them, but not like that one doesn't have it. This one's got pumpkin bits in it. I can try to get this one. I might be able. Nah, I can't shove it in that far. But I could try to put it in the thumb. I don't want to squizzle it around. Okay. So that's pretty good. Take this glove off. Make sure all of your bits are down towards the bottom. Make sure you get a lot of the air out. And then twist. Don't lose the top either. And then tie it kind of like a balloon. I haven't tied a balloon in a while, so apparently my fingers don't want to work. So I just want to be very careful, making sure that you're getting all of it through. Because if it's not, it is going to go everywhere. Now, one thing you can do that I usually recommend is if it is not just for yourself, if you are giving it to somebody, double glove it. Double glove is always safer. Because then you're protected a little bit. Oh no, we're going the wrong way. That's what we're trying to do. There we go. Okay. So take your fingers, put them in. It's easier to do if you double glove it beforehand. Like you stick your hand in and then stick your hand inside another glove. That tends to be fairly helpful. But this way it can be done. You can do it. It just takes a little bit more effort. Uh-oh. The finger didn't fold down. It's bad pinky. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, there we go. And it kind of masks, like, if you have, like, we have a couple pumpkin seeds in here, it masks that a little bit, too. I'll put that down. This. A little bit of the pumpkin from the top of the bottom glove. I'm never good at tying off balloons, so this is always challenging for me. I always also make the balloons a little bit too full. The balloons, the pumpkin hands. No, I think that's one of the tricks is you can use like a different finger. Oof. Personally, I can never get my finger out. Through. Ah! It's working. There it is. There it is. Got it. Come on. All of you. All of you come through here. Alright. So. Here is our zombie glove. So when you squeeze it, it just feels weird and goopy. It's so close to being like the texture. It's just a little like, especially if you feel the fingers, and if you put the hard rind in there, it actually feels like broken bones and gunky. You're glad that you're not the only one who has trouble tying things like that. Yes, no, I'm not the best at it, but we made it work. So this was the zombie hand. That right there. You can also use them to do things like put them in a scarecrow. You can decorate your pumpkins with them, do different things. So, but they're kind of neat. They just look cool, and they're super squishy. So, you know, that's a thing. But yeah, hopefully you liked today's pumpkin carving. Again, for today we did Subnautica Frolicking Fish, which was, we did a bladderfish, we did a peeper, and we did a crash fish on this lovely pumpkin of ours. I will be back for more pumpkin carving next Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we'll be doing another video game related pumpkin. So hopefully you tune in and enjoy that. You did think in a hand. Everybody gets a round of applause. Here, give them a hand. There you go. Yes, and we have a lovely hand as well. But I will be back tomorrow morning for some Pokemon fun. And also we're playing Raft. The new Pokemon expansion comes out on Thursday, so we're going to be playing that. But right now we need to catch our Clobbopus, and hopefully we can catch our Clobbopus sooner rather than later. And yeah, I will also be back on. We have two more weeks of costumes. So we have one more week of Pumpkin, which is be on the 25th, and then we have the 23rd and the 30th are going to be Halloween costumes. So hopefully you tune in. Thank you guys so much for spending part of your Super Sunday with me, Arista Jade. Hi, how's it going? I hope you had fun. I know I did. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye.